and lead us, Rich.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Basically, this meeting was called because we feel that we have not been connected enough to know what is going on. Rich had some questions. I'm gonna let Rich talk. Roll call, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, roll call.
We'll get
Okay,
right into it.
I'll start out with trustee Sound
Present. Here.
and our board president,
Here,
Matanovich, member Pete Kadick, here, our attorney Kevin Smith, and did I say your name yet? Okay, our financial girls here,
here.
okay, and our second in command is here. It's Nikki,
Here.
and our Mr. Dalton's here, and I'm
Here.
here myself.
Very
I
good.
don't think we need anybody else. Okay. First of all, I just want to start out with, and I got a bunch of questions, so I'm going to read off all my questions, and maybe the trustee can answer some of the questions for us. And there might be one or two questions for, naturally, Mr. Dalton and Kevin Smith, our attorney. First of all, I wanted to start out saying thank you to our hardworking employees and staff of the North Township. And I'm gonna go on into, because I've had people calling me and stopping me in the streets and all this other stuff. And we all know we just went through one heck of a storm. But first of all, it's gonna say, are we eligible to apply for this disaster relief from the state or any other government entity? That's one of my questions. How many of our community citizens were handled with these gift cards, and for how much longer will that apply? And how much money did it cost us at this point? Many senior citizens who were unable to stand in line or don't have a vehicle have stopped me and said, how are they going to be taken care of? And I said, we're going to have a meeting and maybe we can find this all out. Because a lot of them don't have vehicles. People don't get on the internet. They're like me, and they're like dinosaurs, shall I say. Also, I wanted to ask if we can afford more assistance with paper products or personal hygiene or anything like that. I see that happening everywhere. Me, myself, and I have already donated over $1,000 out to these various cookouts and supplies for all these people who want to come through all these handouts to people to help them out. My another question is, what is the extent of the damage in our park? I haven't been through there yet. Some people say they've been through there. At the very first, I've been through there twice. It was shut down. I'm not going to be going inside. It tells me not to go to. And let's see. And then my other question would be, any other of our scheduled events at that park, are they going to be canceled or are they going through? And I'm talking about any kind of, and again, I don't know because I haven't been to the park. I'm talking about this motorcycle ride, veterans, talking about any other functions. I don't know if there's still a car thing to go through, or music in the park. And then also, okay, how much money was used? I said that already. How many people were getting assistance from us? And as far as the park cleanup goes, can we search for any other park district or any cities or towns? And I know we've all been hit, that have equipment to help clean up the park, to have an interlocal agreement with them, between us and them. Preference, we get their help, and maybe we can give them something, whether it's some free golf or free pavilion usage or something from the park itself And that naturally would have to be okay from the State Board of Accounts. If we did get in an agreement, I understand that. And also people were bringing up to me that, hey, these people that are getting $50 cards are getting SNAP cards for $150 already reimbursed, and these guys are only getting this 50. So I know not everybody's going to be, happy with the situation, but I just want to know if it's possible to give them a little more, whether we give them a cookout. Everybody's getting a cookout somewhere except for the township. And I want to do, is put on the record, I did call the trustee and told him if he needed any help, whether it be in the park or out here in at the township office, that I would be available to help him. And he kind of told me that they had it under control with what they did. So those are my questions, and maybe I can get some answers, take them back to these people. And I'm mainly concerned about these people that, that don't drive, don't get on the internet. I mean, I just had a buddy, he just passed away. His wife, she stopped me right away. Hey, I can't get there, Rich. I can't stand in line. And I'm not going to mention her names because that shouldn't be out here. But they were concerned, and I told them, I said, well, trustees running it this way, and I can come back and give you some answers after our meeting, and that's mainly what I call Lisa about. Is that I was in limbo. You've been busy, y'all been busy, and I think you've done a great job. But I'm wondering if we can get somebody's questions answered today.
Yes, absolutely. And to answer the first one, whether who qualifies, everybody, so long as you live in the township, as we all know that the storm hit the entire township. We're going from, Whiting into Griffith, it hit all of the townships. So I don't think that's ever happened. Usually the storms that we've had previously have either been like kind of isolated, whether it was on the north side of Hammond or on the south side of East Chicago. They were easy to operate and pull things with the township, but this affected the entire township. So it made it difficult, and one, it's never happened. So we were learning this as we were moving forward, and some of the things that we implemented, we felt was the best, and some of them we moved the other way and we tried a different way. So there are several different things that we tried different ways to make it as easy and as fast as possible. To answer the question about seniors that are not able to come, as you know, and I know that there's a lot of folks, and when we have over hundreds of people coming in this building, it's hard for us to get staff and to get out to those seniors that don't have vehicles or don't get rides, especially when dial-a-ride was down. We had no power. The building, the weather thing got ripped off the building. 3 poles that control most of our internet and our phone service are ripped out, and those are expenses at the township. Those are not NIPSCO expenses because they were weatherheads on the building, and it completely ripped off the building. So those are things. And then on top of that, us trying to find an electrician to get that, well, they're far out. I mean, we're telling folks, look, or shall I say, all the electricians telling us are like, look, we're months out, and on top of that, the different amount of equipment and the things we're going to need to replace it, poles. It is extremely hard to find poles out there. And, people don't think about all the poles that snapped. They had so many, and we're talking electricians. They're like, we're trying to find poles. As soon as we can get you a pole, we can get those things. So, as you say, there was a lot of things going on, but with the seniors, we have reached out. I went personally. I went to the, what's the building down the block here? I got all these buildings and stuff here. No, the Silver Birch, and I partnered up with the Renaissance. So we got into the senior buildings that, were affected, and we took applications to them so they can fill it out and give it to their staff and then bring them back. That's how we were handling some of the senior buildings so that we knew seniors weren't getting left out. It's just hard for me to go into individual communities and blocks and try to get those seniors that don't have rides. We were telling folks that were coming, because that was a concern of a lot of seniors coming here. If you can get here and you can give them a ride, man, you'd be helping your neighbor out. We all need to come together and helping folks that can't get here or around here. In some cases, we told them, look, take the application. Those that pulled up, we gave them the application. Take them with you. Have them fill it out. All you have to do is get a copy of their ID and then come back and we'll process it. So we weren't trying to make it any difficult. We were actually trying to find a way to make it really easy for the seniors that can't get here. Um, in terms of the actual park, I wrote something up and I'll email it to you guys.
Can I add to the
Yeah.
senior? I'm sorry. So, to make it, we were trying to make it easy on everyone. Um, so first off, I just want to mention, keep in mind, there's over 180,000 people in our township. 180,000 people. Okay. So we're not here to supplement, or we can't supplement every piece of food that they lost, but we can assist them with something, which is a $50 gift card. And we did our research at Strax. You can get a good amount of things for $50 at Strack and Van Til. So you mentioned the SNAP benefits. That's something totally separate. That's a federal government program. They are giving more money. Again, that's a federal government program. It's not a township program. So they would get more from SNAP than us. We are just helping them get back on their feet. That's the whole thing, the township assistance. Second of all, the seniors, senior buildings in East Chicago and in Hammond, we're bringing in stacks of applications with copies of IDs, and we went ahead and serviced them. Trustee Santos went and delivered most of the gift cards themselves. What we did, because we understood that people couldn't come and stand in a line, we instructed people, bring back an application and bring back their ID. We'll make the copy here. We'll give you the card. So we had cars and people pull up with 5 IDs with different applications for senior citizens, and they all got serviced with a $50 gift card. So seniors are being helped. We just don't have the staff to go to homes
See,
and
that's
make
what I'm-
home calls. We don't. That is, I would let you know that right now, impossible for us to do.
Right.
It was hard enough for us to pull staff because we can't pull Wicker staff to come and help us. It was just our staff of 10 here working with thousands of people from Friday all the way till today.
Might I add some volunteers? Her daughter came in, her niece came in, my wife came in, making phone calls, getting people, those seniors that they came in on initial Friday when we did that first application, getting those folks back in so that we can get them gift cards. The biggest problem we had is that when the power went down, it took everything out here, meaning we didn't have any structural damage, but we had no phones and we had no internet. Thanks to the city of Hammond and working with Assistant Chief, I believe he is, Goldie, and some of the other folks, the day when we were going to start processing applications, they were able to bring some squad cars so we can grab internet. And we had our IT guy kind of working with them so that we can get some form of communication up and running in this building. We couldn't do any of that for the park because the park, the weatherhead, the strip it is still sitting on the side of the building because we can't get a contractor out there to fix it as fast as we would like. But we're working on that. We are going to get it eventually. We just got to get the poles and then we got to get the
The
contract.
damage is just too massive at the park to get any, it's a long project to even get those power poles
But
back up.
I wanted to, and I'd be remiss for, and I'm going to email this statement to you because I want you guys to know what is actually going on in the park. Nikki's going to give you a little more of a rundown of what we're doing here because, like you said, this is a twofold thing. The park is one thing all in itself, and that is what it is, and then the assistance level on this side is all in itself. And working with these folks right here, us three right here, I've been kind of working with Dave the park, and that's why you don't see it because they're in the park. That park is going 24/7 right now, trying to get trees up. And we did have a partnership with other communities, and that's why I'm going to read this. If you want to mention anything before I get
Yeah,
into this?
let me
Yeah.
finish the assistance part. So just so you guys know as well, you're aware, our East Chicago assistance office and this Hammond office ran the same. So we each had a system. Obviously, our office layouts are completely different, but we all ran the same. So before I forget, thank you for not going to the park, Rich, because we are having an extremely difficult time keeping people out of the park because it is not a safe environment right now. So thank you for not going. So here are reports. So as Trustee Santos said, we had no computer access or phone access from Friday all the way until
Tuesday. The storm
Tuesday.
started- Well, Tuesday, the storm started all the way until.
Oh, yeah,
the
I'm
opposite.
sorry.
You're-
I'm
you're
sorry.
flipping it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So we had no phone, no computer access. We put a plan together and everything was done by hand. So we had people coming in. So on Friday and Monday alone, we had over 1,000 people in this office alone, not including East Chicago, just Hammond. So, Thursday, August 22nd and Friday, August 21st, we gave out 2,871 gift cards to township residents. Monday, which was yesterday, up until 4 o'clock, we gave out 664 cards to township residents. The total cards issued as of August 24th is 3,535 gift cards at $50 each, which is a total of $176,750. Now, what we did in emergency meeting on a Sunday, right after the storm, Trustee Santos reached out to Jeff Strax from Strack and Van Tills, and we asked them for 5,000 gift cards at $50 each. He was generous enough to give us a 10% discount. Okay, so the price for 5,000 gift cards is $250,000. With the discount, we will be paying $225,000.
Okay. Is that all you got to say?
No. So people are still being serviced in both offices. Today has trickled down tremendously. I was really hoping that when you came today, you were going to see an extreme line outside like we've been experiencing every day.
And then
Oh,
some
I
of these
saw
guys
it.
have, because I
Yeah.
know
No,
Pete was
I
here when you
came.
guys came that day.
I
I
feel
came,
Friday.
I saw it. I,
Yeah,
So,
it was- we had a
Mon-
line.
So
Almost-
Thursday and Friday, we had to think of a system. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday were strictly application distributions. Those people came back on Thursday and Friday of just this past week to pick up their cards. Trustee Santos came up with a plan of a drive-through type situation in the parking lot, which was very effective. We got over almost 2,000 people just through our parking lot on Thursday alone, just Thursday. So, and our staff was out there in the heat. They were out there working. We had a actual friend of ours and actually someone who came and applied, donate food to feed our staff here, and we were very appreciative of that. So now it's trickled down. We have the offices back open, regular hours, and people are coming inside the office. So applications are still being given out. We do have gift cards left, but it is a first come, first served basis, and we only have a certain amount. So that's where we're at with the assistance portion of it. So people are being serviced. No one is being turned away. Both offices had received quite a few people from Dyer, St. John, Gary,
Cal Township.
Mhm.
I mean, Calumet Township.
Calumet Township, Illinois,
Illinois.
that we did turn
Council.
away because we cannot service them. They are not in the North Township. So we told them where to go, check with their townships, wherever they resided in. Some were not happy, but there's nothing that we could do about that because we cannot service them. So those were the only people. I read social media and I really had to stop because it was too much. The only people that were turned away were people who did not live in the North Township. Now you didn't have to qualify. It didn't go by income based. This is an emergency plan that we have. So if anyone is out there and they informed you that, or they were informed you that they were turned away from our office, that is simply not the truth. So both offices are streamlined. Just a different setup is the only difference that we have in the offices, but everything with assistance is streamlined straight across the board.
And you all kind of know how the social media thing works. We deny one person,
I stopped.
they want to say
Like
all
Vicky
three of
said,
us
I
were the
had to
problem
stop.
of the
I couldn't
storm,
even read
and
it.
that's not the case. When here I had a gentleman, when Pete came in, I know I just missed you, and Pete had came in on Friday. He saw me working up front, and I was working with a gentleman that came and slammed his Illinois license on the table. And I'm like, sir, you know, and he's giving the girls a hard time. Like, sir, look, you live in Illinois. We can't help. This is Indiana. And they storm off. And the first thing you do 2 hours later, I go and I see his Facebook. He's writing the township don't help nobody, yada, yada, yada. But he doesn't tell the full thing that he came in with an Illinois license. So you're going to see folks on social media writing stuff. I know for a fact that you have got a phone call from an individual, and I won't say names, but you all reached out to me. I reached out to that person individually. I reached out personally to that.
Good.
And I said, hey, what's going on? What are your questions? What are your problems? And when she got all the right information, she was happy. No problem. She was happy. I'm sure she has not called, and I'm sure she's like, because she's pulled up twice here, or her husband, and like, you guys are doing a heck of a job. Thank you for what you're doing. So I did get your messages. I know that during that time, like that after that Tuesday, I was swamped. I'm getting swamped from social media that I still have not answered. You know, some of the on social
Our cell
media.
phones were out too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so with all that, you know, playing, I know that you guys were getting them. We were getting them. Perfect meeting so that we can kind of go over some of the things that we were doing and what, so you all can get ahead of what we were doing here.
So lastly on the assistance portion of it is the only hiccup that we ran into in both offices were that people already had scheduled appointments for their regular assistants. We didn't even turn those people away. So there were a lot of appointments in both offices where our case managers had to stop, take that hour, service that client. So what we did was here in the Hammond office, we pulled every employee upstairs in admin. Even Sue was doing stuff. Everybody came down. So we pulled employees, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Our case managers and our admin staff upstairs, our case managers in East Chicago, phenomenal job, because I think everyone fails to remember 90% of our work staff either lost power, house flooded, and trees damaged their homes, but they all showed up for work here and at Wicker Park. And I have to say that because I cannot stress that enough. There was only maybe 4 of us that did not lose power or have damage. There was some people that had significant damage, and those are our employees. And again, give credit where credit is due. They're working at that park, and they're coming here working every day dealing with people. So that's it on the assistant side.
So immediately following that Tuesday, I know we were scheduled for our board meeting that Tuesday.
Right.
When we kind of talked real quick when I was like, hey, I'm headed to the park to see what was going on. When I got to the park, let me tell you, I've never seen anything like that. It looked like a total bomb went off.
Mhm.
And I thought to my anxiety level jumped, and what are we going to do? So myself and Dave, we went out there, we kind of seen what was going on in the park. We knew right away that we had to shut the park down. The park could not be open. There was no way the park could be open to anybody, let alone we had staff in the park. So we shut the park down. We shortly then after, we were approached by the town of Munster. Munster came over. They wanted to talk about temporarily placing some tree debris that they were pulling off of Wicker Park Estates and the surrounding areas. And in an effort to talk to them, like Rich said, to talk to Munster, we're like, absolutely, you can utilize some of our park to clear those streets so that trucks can get in and out of there and get those poles and those lines up and running. So the town of Munster was able to bring their stuff into our park, as well as our guys cleaning up our park and starting a pile. Well, it was so much damage in the town of Munster that they needed more space. So we were able to sit down with those folks in Munster, as well as ourselves, and as well as the Little Calumet River Basin. Us 3 came together. We're like, how can we get this? How can we all help each other? Because we all needed help. Munster needed help. The Basin needed help. Highland needed help. Everybody needed help. And Wicker Park is kind of the central area in between Munster and Highland. So we allowed them to bring their stuff in. When it started getting too much, we had to come back and sit back at the table and say, okay, what are we going to do? So we told Munster, look, you can continue bringing your stuff, but we also want you to grab our stuff. And you all have to bring in your equipment. So the township is now working with Munster. Munster brought in their front loaders. They brought equipment that we just don't have. We don't have it. Munster had it, so we were able to bring them in. They were able to work through our parking lot to get these piles put together. We also work with Munster that, hey, guess what? Since we're doing this, we're going to get this big chipper, which is a drum tripper. And this certain company is also being used by Hammond, I believe Highland, Lake Station, So they're able to handle the amount of trees and debris that came down. So we were able to work out with Munster that, hey, you all pay the company to, get these trees chopped up or whatever it is that you're doing. We want to utilize that too. Since you're going to use our park at your expense, you handle that. And they agreed. So the township did not have to pay for any of the chipping or the stuff that's being brought in. The town of Munster is going to be providing that financial. So it's no burden to the township. We also worked with the little Cali River Basin, and they brought in a burn box. So this burn box, and this was all funded through them. None of this was funded through the township. This burn box is for shrub, tree branches that necessarily don't have to be chipped, but they're big. They're picking them up, they're dropping it in this box, and it's incinerating that stuff down to ashes. That was also all paid by the Calumet River Basin, no cost to the township. They're just located in the parking lot so that we can just keep burning all the stuff that went down. So talking about, it is extremely important to work with other governmental agencies and other towns and cities so that we can do this together, because we're all in this together and it's going to be a big cost to everybody. So we were able to accomplish that. I believe that some of the expenditures that we have, so long as it's documented, right, and you're going to get a copy of some of these documents, or how we're documented, that 75% of that is going to be reimbursed through FEMA. Hopefully. We know that there's been a declaration, that the governor, and I think, Kevin, you can probably speak. I don't know that it's been signed by the president as of yet, but we're like right there, and we're continuing working like it has been, because there's just no other way to get this stuff up. So 75% of whatever expenditures that the township is going to have because of this storm, we're going to probably be able to get reimbursed.
Yeah. There's really requirements to make sure that meeting that there are these they're basically documentation firms go out and say, take photos, they follow around the work, they take pictures, and they help submit. Like that or not. And think about that. Also, trust is correct that I haven't heard the president sign the declaration yet, and the governor has to fight for it. And so hopefully everything will get that first now. So heard today that governor's compensation plan
Because there's still a 25% out there. If it is going to be 75, there's that 25%. So if he's trying to bridge the gap. But most importantly, and this was where I wanted to explain to the board that, yes, so Dave Medina is out there, and you'll get this. It's kind of detailed, but there are firms, so that that and it's up to the board, that if we go out and we seek firms that deal with this, just the documentation part, so that when we do go to submit our forms to FEMA, that, they're coming from a firm that does this all the time, and it's basically, good to go. Right now, I haven't hired any firm to do that kind of documentation. We've been solely relying on our superintendent, who has been doing a really good breakdown in terms of fencing. You'll see that it's got everything from fencing to picnic tables to breezeway, what's broke, what's not working, what's working. So we've been doing that. But there is companies out there that do provide that kind of resources. If we're going to hire them, that's probably a way. And I'll get some numbers for you so that we can at least look into it and see that we want to use them. Secondly, let me finish this. But after that, I also want to mention about the park, coming into the park. We may also have to look at hiring an additional police staff to work at the park. Our problem right now that's happening at the park is, as you know, we have these beautiful days in front of us that people are coming into the park, and it's just not safe to be in the park. There are well over somewhere close to 200 trees that are down. There are trees that are still hanging down. Mind you, we're just trying to get the stuff that's already down and on our buildings and trying to clear it up. We haven't even touched any of that stuff yet. Therefore, we're pleading with folks, do not go to the park. We understand that folks want to get out, get fresh air, and enjoy the park. The park is not ready for that. We are now utilizing the park like a hub for Munster, Highland, and us, so that we can get this debris off the street and cleaned up. There's still people out there without power, and a lot of it's because of debris and things that are hanging on these lines. So we're trying to get that moved first. There is somewhat of a target date, hoping by the Victory for Veterans kind of ride around there, just depending on how much of this debris and that tub grinder is going to be able to handle and get out of the park. So we have somewhat of a plan. You know, things change every day, especially as we're moving forward, whether, you know, things are progressing or things are getting back. Thank God we haven't had no more bad weather. Looked at the Weather Channel today. Guess what? Wednesday, they're talking about another storm coming through here Wednesday with tornadic winds. So I'm like, yeah, if we have another, yes, tomorrow. They're talking about that. And if that happens again, we are going to be, it's going to slow our process down. It will slow our process down as we move forward. So that will then push dates back further. So we're just kind of, that's what's going on in the park. The park, if you've been through the park and if you took a ride through there and you've seen it, it is, I know I sent videos and I think I sent some pictures at the day of. It was bad.
It was
I think it
horrible,
was bad. So
like a war, like something
Yeah.
just bombed.
we do have, like I said, we do have reports like, you know, iron fencing, how many sections are down. We have over 250 feet of chain link fence. I mean, there's a more detail. This is really detailed in terms of like what's down. It also has on the back page the contractors that we're using now. As you know, when the storm hit, it was hard to find any tree company out there to help us, you know. So taking in the town of Munster, bringing their stuff in, we were able to find 3 contractors that they've been in our park every day. And every day they've been chopping away, you know, at trees and moving the debris to that middle so that we can get some of this stuff up. But our problem is finding the contractor because everybody's looking for contractors. And our other problem is our electrical. Our electrical on the park building is still down. The pole is still hanging on the building. And it's because I cannot find a company to come out and do that because they're short of pole. The last I spoke with Dave, but short, you know, surely we're going to get to a point where we're going to get that fixed. It's just at this point, this is where we're at. And, you know, everybody, there's a lot of poles down, a lot of electrical lines down, and you know that there's people from, you know, every state here trying to help. So we've called NIPSCO about that, the building up there, and we're just kind of on standby. And the dog park and all that area up front, that all got tore up. The fence got tore up, and the park all itself is just, it was a mess. Yes.
I have a question for Teresa. Do you know of any communities using those companies?
County, Hammond, St. John. No, those.
Okay, just so we kind of.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to bring back to the board. Our staff is in here. You all, thank you. If you're listening and you can hear me, you're a staff member, thank you. They've been doing a hell of a job. And this year, like I said, he's been putting this report. I think, personally, I think we definitely should engage with this company that's already doing this for FEMA so that when we do go to reimburse, that we can get at least 75% of the money that we put out there back. I mean, I think it's a great idea to get a company into just,
Got their hands in the door.
you know, I mean, we've already got some of the information and I'm hoping that some of this information is going to be very useful for them to use as they're preparing their reports. But I think that's just the safest way to go so that we can get the maximum amount of money that's out there and relief.
Well, I'm all for it. I know we're gonna need somebody that's connected. That's the only way you get anything done.
Got a good attorney.
I just wanted to say that
got a good
initially
attorney.
seeing this report from David initially and all that, looking at it, I really appreciate the precision and the details on all the different line items. It gives us a much clearer picture of what went on at Wood Park. Okay.
You can
This is-
also see that there's over 300.
Yes, we see that.
And when I tell folks, you know, people think, oh, trade's small. Yeah,
This is
no,
just
it takes
amazingly
days. I was out there day one
Lord.
trying to clean in the first entrance coming into the dog park. I came with my chainsaw. We were out there, and I can tell you, I was out there all day from sunup to sundown. And let me tell you, it seemed like we just did a little dot of work. It did. I mean, in comparison to the whole entire park, it looked like we didn't even do a dent. And all of us were out there sweating. And I mean, and then here's another problem we're coming across: the beehives in these trees. We've run into trees with massive amount of beehives where
That's why there's
we
so
can't
many
even get an
bees.
employee next to the tree. I got stung 5 times. 5 times I got bit up. I got video. I got stuck, but it just so much trees and they're just so much damage out there that when you get to that, I had to call a exterminator to come out just to at least get rid of bees so that we can get a crew in there to start chopping at this tree. But we found maybe 3 or 4 trees with massive beehives inside the tree that when it cracked, boy, them bees went crazy.
Maybe you need to put some of them logs at one of them entrances, keep them people out of there.
The problem is that we have trucks rolling. So we thought about that. Right now, we put an employee with their truck sideways, and I told them when the company truck or a truck pulls in, that that's supposed to be in our park, because we all thought about, hey, guess what? Contractors are going to be like, man, everybody's taking it to Wicker. I'm going to start taking it to Wicker. Like, no, we got employees that are sectioning off where they know the company that's coming in. They move the truck, they let them go off, but it stops the employee from cleaning some of the park up. So I would like to hire security at all those entrances so that they know that nobody else can come in the park. Because the first thing we got was a call last week. I got a call from someone in the town of Highland, like, hey, you know that these contractors are leaving our streets and they're going into the park. And I picked up the phone. I called Nikki. I called Dave. I'm like, hey, they're like, no, it was not. That's not what happened. The truck that didn't have any names on it, they thought was a contractor that was coming in. Lo and behold, that truck was part of the contract with the town of Highland. So I told them, make sure that we got these entrances locked up or either branched out. But let me tell you, that's not stopping people from coming in the park. It is not. It is not. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Have you seen at
They do.
Meadows?
I talked to them.
Pickleball. I complained. I said, why are these people here?
So the town of Highland can block off the entrance from their path. Tons of people were coming. My second day at the park, that's all I did was sit in the golf cart in the back of the park and tell people the park was closed.
There are people walking their dogs in the middle of this on day 2 when there was nothing safe in that
Putting
park
their
to be
kids
around.
on
Yeah,
swings.
swings. We have people in the. So
Based on
Oh my
swings.
God.
So that is the problem. When he's talking about needing to hire some security, our employees only work at a certain time. When they leave, we put the barricades up, retape everything. When the superintendent gets to work at 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning, it's all taken down, even in the highway. So I hope the public is watching this, because we cannot stress enough. And I think that is probably out of this whole situation, the thing that is most frustrating is that our park is closed, and it is closed for a reason. For a reason. Because it is not a safe
For their
environment.
safety.
If you want to take a run, go run through your neighborhood, help a neighbor. But stay out of Wicker Park until we clear it and open the park up again.
And we
cannot let
understand.
people know.
And we understand how important Wicker Park is to the community, Highland, Munster, all the surrounding community. We understand how important Wicker is. We know that because we see them walking our path every day. We see people in from the state of Illinois utilizing our park. So we know that Wicker Park is extremely important to those in our constituents and those that live in these communities. But we want to open Wicker Park as safely as possible. And that means that we have to get this stuff up so that we can do that. So we're asking folks that if you have a party or anything coming up, there is not going to be any party. We're shooting to the end of September with hope. Now, like I said, that's all in collaboration of what our weather is going to be. I'm hoping our weather is beautiful, but if we get these storms again, it's just going to push us further back. But we're shooting for September to get this open. There are some small things that we've been talking about, like here, folks, we lost folks that were having weddings, things of that nature. So there are some things that we're looking at, like there are some events that were scheduled to take place in the clubhouse up front, and we're trying to see if we can maneuver just that parking lot since we cleaned that little area, where we can at least let somebody have, what is the most important day of their life, whether they're getting married. So we're trying to see if we can accomplish that with some of the people in order to get them in. But we want folks to know that if you have big events that are be scheduled at the social center and the pavilion, those are right now are not going to happen as at this point. Anything small that we can kind of move into the front of that clubhouse will do, so long as people are happy, so that we don't, ruin the one time of their life that we're trying to make things happen, and we are. We can only do what we got.
So another thing on the investment park, those are your question. All rentals in the park breezeway, pavilion, shelter, picnic areas, all golf outings that were to help, get quicker for September. Well, obviously they were all canceled for August, but they were all canceled for September as well. So everything is canceled that's going to be in the park, including our luncheon, our picnic, everything is canceled for the month of September. The only one in question, and it's a very big question, would be the picnic event. On a different note, Dial Ride was also out of service this whole time because there was no service, no way for them to get schedules, no computer or phone service. They are up and running as of yesterday. So they are back on track. They're up and running as of yesterday.
Now, these functions that were scheduled then next month, that were canceled, that we have to reimburse these people?
We're working with them, so we're working with those folks, and we're saying, hey, look, we understand that you had something in it. Is it possible that you want to do this again next year? And if so, we would try to carry that. So we're kind of working with people, giving them the option that if they already had this date picked because they stood in line the year before, that would automatically kind of go to them. Because we want people to say, all right, we know that this, because a lot of people have been very understanding, those that have things at the park, like, hey, we understand. All right, maybe can we do this next year? They're like, yeah, that's so that's one way of handling some of the functions that are coming back. So yeah, we're giving them that option. If they want next year, if they had a family reunion scheduled, that we can possibly put them on the book already for next year and just kind of go from there. But those that are asking for reimbursement, we are.
And that will be a process.
Yeah.
Be a process.
Yeah. And they've been all understanding. Everybody's been understanding because they know what the park looks like. There's just that 1% out of 100 that just doesn't want to be understood.
How much damage to the golf course? Tree wise out there,
Is it in here?
Their numbers are part of the over
122.
And as for the golf course,
It did scare the geese away. I saw.
everything is destroyed. Park, golf course, everything.
Golf course trees are 122. 122 trees that are blown down, with large limbs still hanging on some of the stuff out there.
And that's
I
not
kn-
included.
Yeah, so 6, I think that's 6. The one that's all the way in the back where we have our pump, that when the storm hit, all the debris went in, because so everything in that golf course kind of funnels into 6. So when everything was funneling into 6, it took the debris. So we have a main hole in the middle of the pond, in a little pond in 6. And what happened was all that stuff got cluttered up with debris, limbs and all got in there. So we dropped our pump, pumped the water out. And then once we were able to get that water level down, because it was so saturated, that whole area, it was starting to smell. Starting to smell like a dead body back there. And that was because it was just stagnant water. And we could not get the water off because there was trees down in the path. So once we got those trees chopped up, I had them drop the pump. We got the water off there so it can start drying up. Tell you this, that the fairway and all that is dead. Yeah, it was sitting underwater for, several days. So that is all gone. It just slowly but surely, grass will come back up. It's just going to be a process. Same thing in the park. All the trees that came out, they rooted out, and we have holes as big as this room that we are not going to have to backfill with good dirt, and then seed it just to get grass. So there are going to be some process. There are going to be some caution tapes out there that people are going to see. That's just to get us through this. That's not even talking to you all about the cemeteries. Not even talking about the cemetery. We haven't even got to the cemeteries. We had them rope off some areas in the cemetery. I told them, try to get it open. We have to let people visit their loved ones, and we had some funerals that were coming. So we just tried to rope off the trees that were kind of pushed back or not in the areas. We roped them off until we can get a grasp on what we have going on at the park in here. And then I'm going to get a crew, go straight into the cemetery and start chopping those trees up and start getting them into an area that we can get them removed.
Oak Hill?
Oak Hill. If you drive by Oak Hill now, you'll see them down. And I know people are going to scream, oh, they just don't understand that we're also dealing with the park. We're also dealing with a lot. We are going to get there. We are. It's just a process. And we don't have the equipment nor the staffs. Some of it we can chop up. We brought out, you'll see expenditure sheet. We went and brought an 18-inch chainsaw, some of these big equipments that we never had to use, just so we can try to start cleaning some of the park up as well as our contractor. But we know when we get to the cemetery, we have number amount of trees down in the cemetery, they're gonna have to get chopped up and removed in kind of the same process.
Good.
Expenditures.
Well, you know what, before we go any further, I'd like to make a motion that we, hire somebody that's gonna help us go after that money that, one of these professionals that Kevin suggested. We gotta get that started now, and, I'd like to get that nipped in the bud before we do anything more. So I'm making a motion to do that, and then, let the trustees start getting it going, and you can report back to us and let us know exactly what's happening, what's gonna cost us, and, at least we're gonna working to get some of that money back.
My goal is at 25%. If in fact the Governor Braun is going to help us, he can bridge the gap on that 25%. You know,
Pete, you second that motion?
Yes, I second that one.
Thank
Motion is, all in favor?
you. Aye.
Aye.
Just one more thing, one more question I have. If somebody applied for their cards, they haven't picked them up yet, I mean, Nikki, you're saying as long as there's still some left? Or how would that go with that situation? I had some people that applied, and then I had people that didn't apply, so today I'm gonna take a couple forms with me, about 5, and I'm gonna go to their house, have them fill it out. I'm gonna have them get a copy of their driver's license, and I'm gonna get that over here within the next day or 2.
So I would get it,
Well, I can,
because supplies are first come, first
Yeah.
served. So if someone already
Yeah.
submitted a
Yeah.
completed
Yeah.
application, they just have to bring back their license.
and those that have, as you can see when you probably pulled up today, that she was out there. That's how it's been. So we're kind of trying to separate the traffic because we still have people that had school clothing vouchers and stuff that they were doing already coming in
Yeah.
to get their regular service. So trying to keep that traffic and the confusion as little as possible. So we're like, hey, if you are here for a card, every morning I've been out there and every morning I've talked to everybody out there saying, hey, if you're here to get a card, you'll be right here. If you filled out an application already, you're good to go. Just have your ID ready. So we've been getting a lot of praises. Let me tell you, a lot of people have been saying these guys are doing an excellent job. Our problem was communicating, getting this out there. When we lost all our power, it was hard. So we were, relying on other communities like Hammond and everybody else that have been posting and putting things up there. We reached out to Paul Goddard. Everybody knows him, the regional guy that kind of follows crime and everything that happened. We reached out. Hey, Highland reached out to, please tell people stop going to the park, because, a lot of people read his stuff and a lot of people are like, hey, stay out the park. So he posted it, and as well as other community, they're posting stay out the park so that we can get it open, and we can't get it open with people in the park. And you all know, Picker Park is packed with people are walking, riding their bikes, walking their dog. So trying to keep those folks out of the park now is extremely difficult.
now, are you gonna get a private security office?
I believe that's what I'm going to look into.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that we do. I mean, it just to help keep those contractors and people in the park safe, because when folks go to the park, they don't think about, I'm going to hurt myself. No, they go out there and get hurt.
Right.
So we have to think, knowing that the park is in the condition it is, that it is not safe for people to be in there playing on the playground equipment or walking around trees. Because any wind, blow a tree over, and then we got something totally big. And we don't need that. We have down power line, people walking over them in the park, and I just could not. But it isn't me. We've isolated as best as we can. My suggestion be that when staff leaves, that we also have police officers there to be like, stay out the park. Park is not ready for you all. Park is not ready for anything. So please stay out so that they can get this work completed and have it open for you. We do have a target date somewhere at the end of September, or dates, but that's all weather dependent. Hopefully, we continue with these nice warm sunny days. That helps us out a lot. But this is the work that's going to be done in the park is going to go into several months, folks. It's going to go into several months. There is fencing. There is the brand new roof we just put on the pavilion. It's got holes in it already from the trees, the branches that broke out and poked straight through the membrane. We have several holes and several leaks up there. We just replaced that roof. You guys know how much it costs to replace that roof, and here we are back at square one with that roof. So there's going to be a lot of headaches as we move through there, trying to figure out getting contractors in and trying to get them scheduled to do this repair. But we're just at the mercy of when they can come and get it done. But we are trying on our end, and I can't thank my staff. I can't thank all of you guys, everybody that's been a part of this. And we're learning as we move forward. Like I said, it's never happened in a township where the crisis was the entire township. Not very easy to manage a small community or a small area in a
Right.
community that got affected by something. It's easy for us to get in there, talk to those folks, get them taken care of. But when it's this massive, it is really extremely hard. I mean, where we had 3 lanes, if you can go out there, you'll see the 3 lanes that we had to park. We pushed over close to 2,000 cars here in literally 7 hours. It's a lot of people. When I tell you a lot of people, that's why I got this tan. It wasn't because I was anywhere other than in that parking lot, baking on that asphalt with everybody and everybody else. I mean, to Val, everybody. When I tell you everybody, and I will probably at the next meeting, I will have a list of those folks that I would like to personally thank, like the city of Hammond, like their VIP, all these other communities that came out and they were able to help us. We had the Alliance company that also kind of partnered with us and gave out a Narcan thing. So it was a good thing that what we had here, and it was a learning experience for all of us because it was just so massive, never this massive. And we still have people. There are still people today without power. Without power, there are still people today. Looking at reports, a lot of it's starting to come back up. People are starting to get a little more ease, but there's people. We had one of our staff members as of yesterday. Her power came back. She was without power all the way up till yesterday.
Remember days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's- it's-
I don't have a house here in Memphis again. Shouldn't get hit.
Man, the money.
Smart man.
So we do want to.
What the hell you
Extra
at?
high
Closer to-
Got my-
Oh.
Fish funeral
Way
home
out there.
showed up on Thursday and Friday with cases of water, cooler, and ice for our staff to use outside. Honestly, I didn't.
We're gonna and like I said, I'm gonna put a list together of all those that came in and helped us, and so that I'll write a nice letter and I'll have you all sign it as board members too, thanking them for all coming to the rescue, basically for coming to the rescue and helping us as we get through this together. Because folks, we can't get through this. We got to get together. Together is the way we're gonna get through this problem. Because it's not a you problem, me problem. It's our problem, and we're gonna fix it.
That is one thing that I loved watching our community in the Meadows. Everybody came together. I don't care if the 2 neighbors were fighting. They came together. They helped each other, moving branches. It was heartwarming to see. Unfortunately, we had these circumstances. It was nice. It was nice to see everybody pull together.
How about you, Pete, with your new neighbors?
Oh, it was bad. Fortunately for me, I didn't have damage to the house. Okay, but throughout the neighborhood, fallen trees on houses,
Really?
trees on vehicles, trees in the middle of the streets where it was impassable in those first few days, and even beyond. When you're trying to drive out, it was like going through a corn maze where you drive here and then it's impassable and you have to turn around and you're going all over the place to try to get out. And after very lengthy period of time to get out of the maze, when you get into a main street, then you're bumper to bumper because the traffic lights are out, so everybody's waiting because it's a 4-way stop now, so everybody's waiting bumper to bumper. And then it's very dangerous going through the main intersections where you have to look 3 ways, the left, right, and front and all, to see whose turn is next because everybody's doing the honor system. There was a few that were on the selfish side, but most everybody was using the honor system on those 4-way stops of major intersections. So the line to get to the intersection was a very lengthy period of time. It was just a mess. Days on end. I didn't get power till the 10th day. I didn't get internet, Wi-Fi, TV, or the printer to work or whatever till 12 days. And today was the first day with hot water. At 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
Well,
it was miserable.
I think at this time, it's Steve, financially, the financial impact, are we gonna have to come back for an additional appropriation? Okay, and those are the things that I want the board to understand, that we will, and I think I talked to you probably individually real quick. Before the summer, we will be coming back for an additional appropriation to get some of the funds so that we can start paying out contractors as they're starting to come in. She's, on the back of this one, kind of gives you a line item of what some contractors that we know for a fact that are gonna be paid out. And we're gonna keep keeping detailed like this so that you guys can have an idea of what is being paid out and what is going out there. But I do want to make clear, for those folks that saying the township or the 1 or 2, that 1% out there that says the township isn't doing anything, simply not true. As you can see it in these numbers, as you can see in the cards that we're giving out, as you can see, we have video we posted up on Facebook of how this parking lot was set up, how we were moving people through. The township has been handling business. And we have been getting nothing but praises from a lot of folks that are coming through here saying these guys have this set up where you are really moving us in and out of here, opposed to people saying, hey, we're going to be there for 3 hours. It's not true. Not true. Not true.
Just to let you know, this is, what I've received so far, as far as even receipts or invoices, and you can see that, like, like that, we have big items like chainsaws, et cetera. The only thing I have been paid so far is Thomas Land, the tree. But
That's been paid?
yes, but I'm expecting a lot.
And as they come in, we will do like this so that you all can see where this money is going or who we're paying out, so that you can see what was, and we have to, like I said, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to compile this information really tight so that when we do go for our reimbursement, that it's done right. So,
Oh, yeah.
because, they'll be quick to deny you if you didn't dot that I or cross your T. We know that would be IRS.
Let me just speak. I know you're all
Yeah.
wondering how this all plays out. In COVID, we learned a lot of lessons. One of them was you solve the emergency first, and then you paperwork. So Sue's going to pay bills as slow as she can, because that's what Sue does on you guys' behalf. And we're going to bring you additional appropriations, and we may have to bring you additional appropriations every month for the next couple months as we get all these numbers in. And that may be annoying, but we won't know the entirety of the expense until we get out until the end of the year or the spring. But the goal of the administration is to give you as much information as possible so that you can see it coming. And then basically every month you'll be asked to additionally appropriate the dollars that we're going to need over and above the budget.
So the additional appropriations, where's that cash coming from?
You have cash reserves. So because you guys have been fiscally prudent over the last decade, you have cash reserves in your township assistance fund, in your recreation fund, and in your township general fund. We're going to try to eventually use the general fund. That's the one that really should pay as many of the bills as possible. But you may see that we'll additionally appropriate from various places and then have to do some transfers to right size. Some of it has to do with the fact that you have tremendous cash reserves in township assistance, and we want to maintain that. And that may be the place that we use the most upfront and then pay it back. That isn't trying to obfuscate anything for the public. That's just because that's your largest cash. We want to protect that, because you'll remember the capital improvement thing we went through last year, where I made the big speech about how the legislature was targeting townships. That's the one fund they can't mess with. So we want to make sure at the end of the day, cash goes back to the township assistance fund, because the legislature is afraid to touch that.
And it also puts us in a position that if this ever happens again, which we need it, but there's fun. As you know, as years are going, the global warming, as much some people may not think of it, I'm just one of those guys that do, that these storms will get worse. They're becoming, yep. Yeah. So,
And correct me if I'm wrong, some of these damages will also be insured. So we'll also be for many, many months, if not year, dealing with claims. So
and we
it'll
have,
take a while to figure out what this costs us.
and we have worked with Manta and Hearst. They are going to be out here. If they haven't already, I think it was already.
Friday. The
That'd
adjuster will
be-
be in the.
It'll be in the Friday all day. So Dave will be out there with them, kind of walking them through and what we can get reimbursed in the insurance. That's what we're going to do. Just trying, my goal is to get the park up and running, get things back to normal, and then we start dealing with everything else. And our biggest hurdle is going to be the park itself. Because what? It's the most utilized park. So many people that come there and they want to get in there, but it's just not safe.
What's the earliest you're gonna hire somebody to get in there and do?
I am going to start talking to somebody today. If I can line that up, I have a great working relationship with the folks that we deal with now that watch our buildings. I'll reach out to some of them guys, say, hey, look, we need some guys that can do extra, that they can work the entrances of the gates so that way we.
Nighttime, is their gates locking?
One gate, the gate on the west end, we can actually lock and close, so that'll stop it. But your main gate off of what is that park? What's right that street right across right there? Prairie. Yeah, that one off of Prairie. There's no there other than barricades and maybe a truck we can put there, and then our other one by the dog park. Well, the two end on the dog park. You have one that nobody really utilizes except the employees because we know that road is there. Everybody try to go in between the dog park and what used to be the swing in the corner there. That's where they go in. But we're able to close that fence that goes into here. You can't go that way. You know, there's wires and the poles are all down right next to that
I'll
fence.
try.
So yeah, but that side against that building, the our park building, 3-4 poles that connect to that building, they're all cracked and they're all down. So there's that fence where everybody says
Can't get
stop.
through
Look,
there.
you can't get through that fence, but you can get around the others. So what we've been doing is just block it off. And if we have to move dial-a-ride buses to block them where we can block them, that's what we do. But I'm hoping here in the future that we're going to have round the clock with these guys stumping, removing, that this is going to be, you know, they want to get out of here. A lot of these people are from different, you know, states that are in here helping us get back together, that they're going to want to do this round the clock so they can get the stuff up and they can get out.
There also is no closure.
Me, what?
Kevin, if we post no trespassing, does that provide any liability protection or is that?
I mean, it's for a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, but it doesn't hurt for no trespassing, right? Park those, I don't know. It's more of like park flow, danger,
Okay.
something like that,
Alright.
or danger, no, maybe.
Do not
say
enter.
Park flow, right? No. That'll help.
I think that's what they have.
At least no, at least in the past that we're not able to get like be it like down there in that Highland path, but we can do barricades. Our main entrances or our gates, we can have a vehicle or somebody physically there to say, no, because I'm telling you, every day I go to the park, I'm running people. Every day I'm having to run people through the park.
If you go to the developed firm, you can see the damage. Damage site.
That water flooded that whole area for a while, so it killed all. It just killed it.
And I don't know. Then again, if we're get through, yeah. So just put as much time as you can, maybe. But I know.
They're gonna get it.
Oh, across the river.
Right.
Yeah, they will. And like I said, and the other agency that's helping us take trees down, and I know I said it, and I've got to be remissful because they were the ones that got the burn box, was the Little Calumet Basin. They were, yeah, those trees behind our pavilion that run with our ditch, all those trees came out. All of them, even on top of our roof of a pavilion. So they brought that burn box. So all that shrub is going to come down. They're going to burn it, and then we're going to start cleaning that tree. Just know that the park is going to have a lot of sun for a long time. All that breezeway that was covered, that is all gone. The sun in that area is gone. It's not the sun, but the shade is all gone. It's all going to be open, and we are going to be. Ariel did reach out to us and said, "Hey, look, in the future as we move," he goes, "I want to help you all get that park. We want to help get that park back to where it's at. They're going to be donating trees. We're going to be planting trees all over the park because we've had a lot of trees down, and we're going to need to plant more trees." But the good thing about, I don't know if there's anything good about the storm, that we're able to find a bad tree. the trees that were infested with either termites or whatever,
Bees.
because all those trees came down. So we're able now to see them, and they're no longer going to be a hazard to anybody in the park because we're going to get those trees down.
It's a good news and very.
Right, yeah,
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
yes, there is like,
Okay, does that conclude?
Well, technically speaking, I was gonna ask, I was noticing when we received the agenda and all that, this is a special meeting. Items 3 and 4 really do not apply to today, so there were no minutes we'll do that at our next regularly scheduled meeting. There really was no old business, because we're here to talk about the storm. So just for the record, that items 3 and 4 on the agenda actually do not apply today. Public comment is public comment, but, we'll, if there's any public comment, they'll be able to come to our next regular schedule.
By the way, that's a good question. Will it be here?
We'll be here. Number 8.
if we stand by, honestly stand by, because I don't want to say yes and then it's on
be
record to
determined.
yes, yet to be determined, because we are hoping to get, we are working now to hopefully get maybe a wedding in there. So we probably can have it. Before I say yes, I want to make sure that, that I talk to everybody over there and let them know, hey, on these days, we're going to have some meetings in here so they can get in.
For the record, regarding the mechanics of our regularly scheduled meetings and all, so is it fair to say then that the August regularly scheduled meeting, which have to scheduled out 2 hours, 3 hours after the storm started, is basically just canceled rather than rescheduled, and we'll pick up where we left off on our September regularly scheduled meeting, and today's meeting was a special meeting for emergency matters.
Yes.
So the regularly scheduled August 11th meeting, Joe, for the record, is canceled, not postponed. And we'll pick up on regularly scheduled meetings and matters.
And I will get back to you in terms of the place, whether it be here or over there, but these are the two options, either here or over there.
And then the minutes for September 8th will be for July, and for today's special meeting, we'll end up at the regular minutes approvals and those
End of October.
matters. You know what I'm
So
saying?
here, we'll do the first reading.
July, and this meeting will be on items on the agenda for September 8th for approval. Dates and separate things here, separate.
And then just so you know, I will be sending out an email
Oh, actually, I'll
today or
send it out.
tomorrow. If you have anything to put on that
Right.
September meeting, I need to know. in advance.
Right, we're already getting to that stage. Well,
So if you have something, please email it to me, so we can be added, because I have to send it.
and I think it goes without saying that on this new business, you can just put a separate line item instead of old business and new business, just put a separate line item between old business and new business as storm damage ongoing update, because I think we're going to be discussing the bulk of our meeting September 8th is going to be continuance of this discussion of where we follow up and updates what we were talking about today. So make on item between items 4 and 5, make a new 5 and make new business on item 6, and then public comment will be 7 and then will be 8 September 8th. Follow what I'm saying? We're gonna make like a separate line item between old and new business for storm damage update, and at that portion, we'll pick up this whole emergency special meeting discussion and updating that. Okay?
I know Steve wanted to mention something, so I'm gonna let him.
Okay, so originally we were going to give the board our proposed budget 2 weeks ago, and then the meeting was canceled. So we haven't, so I need to do that. Distributed that budget. Originally, we were going to do the public hearing of the budget on September 8th, which brings up an interesting challenge, Adrian, with regards to where we meet, because I have to notice that on Gateway 10 days prior, which is
Let's nip that in the bud. Let's have it here
Yeah.
so that we can,
that's
make sure, so that
Yeah.
we can make sure we get that in. So
Yeah.
yes, we're gonna hold our
No
meeting.
clubhouse meetings in September.
Yeah.
All the meetings from
Save-
here until
Yeah.
further notice are going to be here.
Yes.
So
Until
then we'll
further
change the
notice.
address when we submit tomorrow. We'll change
Okay,
the
all right.
address.
Please do so that we know that
That's
gets,
correct.
yes, I think it's just safe to do that. And then we get that, so make sure that the address gets changed.
Sue is going to submit tomorrow, that notice, and then she will have the documents to be able to provide to everybody, so you have time between now and the 8th to review the proposal. That's the first reading public hearing. We will not adopt until October 13th. It's the second reading adoption. So it's also not rushing you.
Right.
If you wanted to make.
Okay.
Okay,
Beautiful.
with that, then, Madam Chairman, I make a motion that, to make it 2:12 p.m., I make a motion that we adjourn until September 8th, 2026, 2 p.m. here in this room at the home and main.
I have a second. Motion. Right here, aye.
That's it. See you.